life. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me. I am the host of the Full Heel Podcast, Rafael Chairez. If you guys want to look for me, I am on Xbox Live as Donkeytron. Second. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'm here to talk about UFC, Fight Night London, Werdum versus Volkov. And it was a badass card for those who missed it. We had an early card because it was a London card, so it started Chicago time at 1. Whatever time that is for you guys, I am not sure. Thanks a lot for joining me again. I think there was 10 fights on the card. Let me see.
One of my.
All right, let's see if we can get some people to flow into the chat. I don't know if you guys watched this card. Like I said, it was 10 fights. It was supposed to be 12, but we had 2 dropouts. Let's see which ones were the dropouts. We had okay, they don't have the dropouts. So they had the opening bout dropout, and I forgot what the other one was. But, so there was 10 fights from London. Let's get right into it, I guess. Like I said, a lot of good fights, a lot of prospects like me and Jeff talked about. The card started off with Godbeer versus Dmitriy Sosnovskiy. I butchered the fuck out of that. But, this one went into the second round. It was Dmitriy's first fight in the UFC, so it was his debut fight in the UFC. He was a lot more successful in the clinch, and Godbeer was a lot more successful in the striking department, landing the heavier shots. So Sosnovskiy just tried to clinch the whole time, eventually got it to the floor. I think he was winning on the takedowns as well, too. Yeah, he had one in the first, one in the second. Let's see, actually, I scored all these fights as I was going today. This one didn't matter. Sosnovskiy landed a submission in the second round. Let's see. Yep, second round. I actually had Godbeer winning the first round, so if that's for anything. Let's see if we got any people. Oh yeah, if you guys are wondering, I didn't do a fight campaign today. I didn't have anyone come over. So these are what I'm going to start doing these, see if I can't refine this kind of style of breaking down the fight and giving you the results. So if you guys don't want any spoilers for the London card that just happened, which is on Fight Pass right now, I think you guys can go watch it right now if you guys missed the card, if you guys have Fight Pass. If not, you guys probably don't want to watch this because I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it. I usually do fight companions. Like I said, I didn't have any of my buddies come over today, so I just didn't want to sit here and stream me watching the fights. So I'm just going to talk about the fights and give you my opinions on what happened. I was trying to take notes during them, I think. Let's see. It's Stevie Ray, Kajan Johnson. Let's see. Godbeer. Yeah, he Godbeer got controlled pretty much off the bat. Shout outs to Mr. National Soldier dropping by in the comments like always. Thanks a lot for joining me, Mr. National Soldier. I'm going to probably do this format more regularly now. People have lives. And it's a hassle trying to get everyone to come over too. So we'll see when the next fight companion is. I was going to have Jeff on, but he's recording right now. So shout outs to Jeff from Average Joe's. Check me out on Average Joe's. I also do 2 shows a week with Jeff on there. So Godbeer got submitted. Second round. Yeah. Sosnovskiy, whatever the fuck his name is. Just clinched this guy up, tipping against the cage. I think eventually he landed a couple shots that dazed Godbeer. And then I think he got the rear naked choke. He got the submission win. Yep, rear naked choke for this guy. And then the second fight we had Stevie Ray versus Kajan Johnson. Stevie Ray, I think, just signed a new contract. He had been holding out for a while, so he hadn't fought. So they finally came to terms with him, so he's back in the octagon. But this one was a close fight. We had Stevie Ray coming forward most of the time, and we had Kajan Johnson circling around, mostly picking his shots, trying to land his jab here and there. Yeah, we had Kajan Johnson just mixing it up a lot better. Stevie Ray was just trying to knock him out, trying to chase him down, and Kajan Johnson just wasn't letting himself get caught. He stuck to the game plan, and he got the decision win. Stevie Ray was kind of shocked. I had it for Kajan Johnson in points, but, you know, Stevie Ray wanted to win in his hometown. He didn't get it. So, let's see. And then I think the third fight of the card was Paul Craig versus Magomed Ankalaev. I didn't know this, but Ankalaev is I guess he was given his master's in Sambo by Fedor, and I think he was one of the first people or only person to get their masters in Sambo, and pretty much he's representing Fedor out there, I guess. But he's taking on Paul Godbeer fought earlier. Paul Juber Craig. This one was it was a little close, but I had Magomed winning the whole time just by control, mixing it up a lot better. And then whenever he did take him down, Craig was trying to attack with submissions. He was active from the bottom, but let's see. Let's check out the strike totals. Yeah, Ankalaev just controlled him a lot more, had top position, was landing a lot more strikes. And it looked like he was going to pull off the victory in his UFC debut, but I don't know how long. There was 7 seconds left in the third round, and Paul Craig landed a awesome triangle. He locked it in with 10 seconds left and just tightened it up and right away got the submission. Pretty good submission, and pulled it off right in the nick of time. So people are gonna remember that just because I had him losing. I thought he was gonna lose the fight, and I had Fedor's protege looking pretty good. Smoke break. Then we had Danny Hatchet Henry. I'm telling you, we had a lot of young talent. A lot of guys first, second fights in the UFC. A lot of guys making their debut. And Henry wasn't one of them. I think he had like 1 or 2 fights. But Hakeem Dawodu was one of them. He was more of a striker. He came from a kickboxing background, and this one didn't take long. Hatchet knew he had to get it to the floor and submit this guy, but I don't think he did get it to the floor. I think he hurt him. Wait, exactly how was it? Because I know he guillotined them and he didn't lock in any hooks or anything. Was this the one where he was working his defense really well and spinning out of it? No, Edward Sobotta. I think I skipped it. Let's see. Yeah, this had to be the one because I didn't even have to write anything down. Yeah, total strikes 2-3. Danny Henry caught Hakeem right away and then went for the guillotine. And Hakeem had some great defense. If I'm remembering the fight well, he had some great defense. He spun out of the guillotine twice. He wasn't letting him lock in the hook, or he wasn't letting him lock in the legs around them. He wasn't letting him get the stretch. And eventually he had a tap because this guy he had it deep on the neck. And then eventually he kind of just was standing almost over him with the guillotine while this guy was almost on his butt. It looked kind of painful, and he tapped out and almost went out as well. So Danny Henry picks up the victory. Let's see. And then we had Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts versus Oliver Enkamp. This was a good card. If you guys didn't watch it, I would suggest checking it out on UFC Fight Pass. Like I said, a lot of young talent, and they did a lot, like getting knockouts. Showing a lot of good talent, a lot of up-and-coming guys that we can look forward to keeping our eyes on to see how they're going to do. Danny Roberts defeats Oliver Enkamp 2:48 of round number 1. They were just kind of trying to feel each other out, and Oliver Enkamp, it being his first fight, I guess he just didn't have the experience. He got caught right away and continued to do the same thing, continued to come forward, and Danny Roberts was like, fuck that, and he clipped him again. I think it was a TKO. Yeah, KO by left hand. Yeah, he landed a great right early on, and he ended it with a left. We'll see how Enkamp does. It was his debut fight. I don't know. See what's up with that guy. Let's see, next fight. And we had John Phillips versus Charles Byrd. Let's see. Okay. So, this one, again, another fast fight. 101 of round 1. There was a couple, like I said, there was a couple of these that ended in the first round. John Phillips was a heavy-handed guy coming in trying to knock out Charles Byrd. Charles Byrd knew that right away. He went for the takedown, secured the takedown right away, and started working his way towards a back position. Once he got the back position, secured it, sunk in the rear naked choke, and that was it for John Phillips. That's all she wrote. And a lot of quick fights, man. Then we had Leon Edwards versus Peter Sobotta. This one was pretty even, in my opinion, for as long as it lasted. I think it went on. Did it go on? How long? Well, it was a TKO, KO. Let's see. Yeah. Fuck. Oh yeah, Edwards was looking pretty good. I hadn't seen too much of Edwards. I'd seen a couple of his fights. Didn't remember too much about him. I don't know if he was just putting on because it was his hometown, but he was doing pretty good. He dropped Sobotta in the first round. He outstruck Sobotta 71-57. Significant strikes, 42-16. They both had a takedown, but eventually Leon Edwards TKO's Peter Sobotta. see. Next fight. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit... I think this is going to be a little bit controversial just in the scoring itself. We had Tom Duquesnoy versus Terrion Ware. Let's see. So Tom Duquesnoy was landing a lot of great combos and finishing them off with leg kicks. And if you're just looking at it for what it was, it looked like Tom Duquesnoy was doing a lot more because he was in and out very well. He was landing his jab straight, leg kick, and then getting out of there, using the outside very well. And we had Terrion just coming forward, and using his boxing very well, mixing in kicks, not as much as Tom, but you got to look at the striking at this point, just because they were both kind of exchanging, in my opinion, significant strikes equally. Well, equal power, in my opinion, not equally. In my opinion, they were exchanging equal power. No one was landing harder, more significant strikes than the other. But we had Terrion Ware land more strikes and land more significant strikes and land more takedowns. But yet he lost the fight. And I don't know how he lost. I don't know how he lost the fight. In my opinion, he should have won. Let's see. We can go round by round for this one, just because I thought it was a robbery and they gave it to Tom Duquesnoy. Just in my opinion, just because he looked flashier, like he was coming in and he was still taking shots. And this Terrion was just working him with his boxing. So the first round, we had 22 total strikes from Tom Duquesnoy to 30 from Terrion. 30 total strikes. And then in the significant strikes department, we had 22 to 26 for Terrion, in favor of Terrion. And then in the takedown department, we had 1 for Terrion. So in my opinion, that round has to go to Terrion. Not only did he outstrike Tom, but he landed a takedown, and it says he has control here because he had a lot of forward pressure. Duquesnoy was escaping very well and using the outside of the octagon very well, using angles very well, but you have to go by the point. You can't go by the flashiness. Flashiness isn't something that's judged in this sport, because he was having trouble. He was getting caught. He wasn't staying in there for a reason, because Terrion was coming forward and he was landing his shots. He was outstriking him. And then in the second round, we had 25 out of 49 for Tom, and then 53 out of 108 for Terrion. So he was even outworking him in the second round. And in the significant strike department, it was 22 to 34 in favor of Terrion. No takedowns for anyone. And then third round, it was a lot closer in the striking department. 23 out of 57 for Tom and 25 out of 113 for Terrion. And we had 23 significant strikes out of 57 to 25 out of 113 in favor, again, of Terrion. Minimal stat favor for Terrion, but still, we had a takedown in favor of Terrion as well, 1 of 3. But I think a lot of the scorecards were showing 30. I wish this would say if it was unanimous or not. Or I should have written it down. If it was unanimous or split, but I think he won by unanimous decision. And I think that was a mistake, in my opinion. I think Terrion got robbed. And I think he knew it too. I think he was very surprised. But we'll see. We'll see who they give to Tom Duquesnoy. And then we had, let's see. We had Jimi Manuwa versus John Blachowicz, which is a rematch from, I have no idea when. But we had Jimi Manuwa giving the rematch to Blachowicz because Jimi Manuwa has been kind of on a losing streak. He got knocked out recently in his previous fight by Ozdemir in 42 seconds. So he was trying to give Blachowicz a rematch from 2015 when he beat him in Poland. So now they were going to run it back in London. Jimi Manuwa was going to try to secure a devastating win over Blachowicz to try to get to Cormier before he takes off into retirement. Which if he wins the title at heavyweight, he's not coming back. That fight's going to be crazy. But yeah, so it's the rematch for Jimi Manuwa versus Blachowicz from 2015. And let's see. First round, Jimi Manuwa starts off pretty well with the leg kicks, but I think he abandoned them a little bit too early. And this allowed for Blachowicz to start getting comfortable, to start establishing his range, to start landing his jab. It just at first he wasn't landing as much of it just because, like I said, this guy was landing some good leg kicks, keeping him at range, jabbing Blachowicz and not letting him come in. Blachowicz, to his credit, though, wasn't necessarily all the time coming in. He was letting Jimi come in. He wanted Jimi to come in. He wanted Jimi to be the aggressor. And Jimi obliged the whole fight. He came forward, and he never abandoned that game plan. Round 1 through 3, that's all he did was just come forward. And Blachowicz loved it. After Jimi stopped leg kicking, Jan started finding his range. Started getting a little bit comfortable. And this was an incredible fight. It went to decision, but at times it didn't look like it was going to go to decision. The first round, I gave it to Blachowicz. I think everyone gave it to Blachowicz. He knocked down Manuwa. He outstruck him 38-8, 27 significant strikes to 8. Manuwa was coming in nonstop looking for a power shot and never trying to he was establishing in the beginning, but in the very beginning he was just throwing the leg kick and kind of just throwing out the jab at first. He abandoned that very quickly and just started walking down Blachowicz and trying to land the heavy shot. His game plan became very predictable right away to Blachowicz, and he started teeing off on him. He started catching Manuwa with the uppercut coming in, and he started landing very good combos off of the uppercut. He started coming in with a hook after that, and then a straight, because he didn't have to find his distance at this time. Manuwa coming in the whole time gave Blachowicz the opportunity not to necessarily have to set up the jab because it was kind of there. He didn't have to measure his distance with this guy coming in the whole time. He already had it measured. He already had Jimi timed, and he was finding his spots very well through Jimi covering up because Jimi wasn't using any head movement. He was just putting his hands up, kind of shelling up, and Blachowicz was landing the nice uppercuts and nice hooks like I mentioned earlier. Bloodied up Manuwa. And Manuwa somehow made it out of the first round. He got dropped. He was getting tagged up pretty nice. And there's nothing he really did in the first round to... It could have been a 10-8 round, in my opinion. I gave it a 10-9, but... You could have given it a 10-8. Second round, it was Jean getting a little bit more comfortable. Not necessarily landing as many power shots or landing as many shots. I think he got a little bit winded from the first round when he thought he was going to finish Jimi. He was still landing very nice, and he was still landing those same combos again because Jimi did not stop coming forward. I feel like I'm in that Seinfeld episode where Jimi speaks in third person. Jimi really likes you. Jimi would like to go on a date with you. And Elaine thinks Jimmy's talking about the guy she likes, but he's really talking about himself. If you guys have not seen that episode of fucking Seinfeld, shame on you guys. You guys shouldn't be watching this. Go turn this off and go find Seinfeld on any streaming thing and find the Jimi episode and watch it. It's hilarious. But I feel like I'm in that episode right now because I'm talking about Jimi Manuwa. Well, back to the fight. Again, he didn't change anything up from the first round when he almost got dropped and he almost got finished. He kept coming forward, and Blachowicz was looking for that. He was looking for the counters, and Manuwa, again, not throwing out the jab, abandoned the leg kick, so he got figured out fairly early, dropped, and continued to do the same thing. That's a horrible fucking game plan. Well, maybe that was just his fucking autopilot from getting dropped earlier because he didn't change shit. He didn't change shit up. Second round, he got outstruck. Total strikes were 33-16 in favor of Blachowicz. Significant strikes 28-16 in favor of Blachowicz. Again, Blachowicz owning Jimi. You ruined Jimi. And then round 3. Going into round 3, I had a 20-18 in favor of Blachowicz. And Blachowicz, again, beat the shit out of Manuwa. It was a completely different fight from the first one. Manuwa dominated the first one, couldn't get the finish. Jam dominated the second one, couldn't get the finish. So I don't remember a lot of the first one, but this one was a war. If you guys did not see this card, go back and watch this card. A lot of great fights, a lot of finishes, a lot of first-round finishes. There was a lot of great jiu-jitsu, too, a lot of great jiu-jitsu defense. I'm going to go back and watch a lot of those segments, and I'm going to break them down with Jeff, and I'll break them down in the Full Heel podcast later on this week, coming Tuesday or Thursday. Again, I apologize for not having a fight companion. I'm going to start having these fight breakdowns afterward, so spread the word, drop a like, drop a review, leave a 5-star review rating on iTunes, all that good shit. This isn't over, I'm just saying, just do that shit. Did I go over round 3 stats? No, I didn't. Jimi Manuwa came into the third round again. Forward pressure, trying to land that big bomb. Blachowicz had it figured out from the first round. He came in trying to counter. He saw something in the first fight that Manuwa was showing him. Shout outs to the people in the comments. I'm about to end this one and get into the final fight. But we had Blachowicz outstriking Manuwa 53-13. And significant strikes 42-13 with one takedown for Blachowicz. He couldn't quite finish him. And I'd like to see him go for the rubber match to see who wins the third one. They both, like I said, they both won decisively. Just couldn't get the finish on either of them. And they both took it in each other's hometown. So I hope they do it somewhere neutral. And then in the final fight of the night, we had Fabricio Werdum versus Alexander Volkov. And I'm not sure how young Volkov is, but he is going to be dangerous for this heavyweight division. He's 29. That's not old at all for the heavyweight division. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. He's got 30 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 7 decision wins, 6 losses. I think they added the win to Werdum already on there. Alexander Drago Volkov from Moscow, Russia. Let's see. We can go over this fight. This was an awesome fight by both guys. We had Fabricio bringing it in the beginning. Both of them bringing it in the beginning. But I think it was Fabricio winning the earlier rounds due to the takedowns and matching it on the striking. He knew he couldn't outstrike this guy, so he was mixing it up very well with the... Well, I think he went for the takedown right away. Well, he came out with the flying fucking kick, that side kick that he threw at... God damn it, what's his name? Travis Brown. That's flying side kick that he threw at Travis Brown. That's what he started off this fight with as well. And Alexander, kind of, you know, he wasn't going to be caught with that. Alexander's a pretty good striker. Pretty good, right? When we were talking shit. How many knockouts did I say he had? 20 knockouts. Yeah, pretty good. He's a fucking phenomenal striker. He's a tall dude that knows how to use his range very well. He uses the basics very well, the jab. He sets up combos very good. And he stuck it out with Werdum. And at times he was put through the fire. And he came out very, very... looking very good. He looked definitely overwhelmed in the jiu-jitsu department, but he knew how to come out of it, and he knew how to escape, and he knew how to get back up. He looked at danger at times, but like I said, he escaped out of it and was able to get back to the feet where he wanted it and land his strikes. Werdum was going for the takedown and going to try to land his ground and pound. Werdum had his eye closed. I'm not sure if it was the first round that it started to swell up, but it started swelling on the right eye. And he continued to work on that, and he continued to shut both eyes, but the right eye is the one that got closed up a lot more. Werdum went for a takedown right away, controlled him on the floor, eventually got up for the first round. But Volkov outstruck him 42-27. Significant strikes went in the favor of Werdum, and the takedowns went in the favor of Werdum. 2-1. He had a very good single leg. He was going for a single leg and then just twisting him onto the floor. And then controlling him, keeping him there, and landing some good strikes. I had Werdum winning the first round. Let's see how I scored it. Yeah, I had Werdum winning the first round. And looking very good. I had Werdum. I picked Werdum to win the fight, as of a lot of people did. Alexander Volkov is a very interesting heavyweight. Very young, very tall. Good cardio. Good striking. Very good submission defense. He was able to avoid Fabricio's submission game. Second round, he got outstruck, though, by Fabricio 31-20, 14-3. Fabricio took him down again in this round. So I had Fabricio winning this round again. So 20-18 in favor of Fabricio early on. Then we had going into the third round. Not a lot of action going here. Again, Fabricio knew he had to get it to the floor because Volkov was getting comfortable in his striking. He was landing a lot more, trying to close up this guy's eye. And Fabricio couldn't keep getting hit like that. His eye was getting swollen. He was getting super fucked up. And third round, not a lot of action, and we had Alexander Volkov get the takedown, outstrike him 13-10. Those were the significant strikes as well. So in this round, you kind of see a little bit of a momentum shift. I don't think it was a cardio issue. I think it was more of an... it could have been. It could have been. But I think Werdum still had some in the tank. It just happened so that his jiu-jitsu game wasn't figured out. It's just this guy had good defense. Like, he was attacking very well, and it looked to put Volkov in danger. But Volkov kind of knew what to do to get out of those positions and get it back to the floor. Werdum kept on asking him to come to the floor, and Volkov kept on telling him to get up. And the referee stood them up. That's what happens. This is where we see the change in momentum in the favor of Volkov. I have it 29-27, Werdum winning the first two, Volkov taking the third, going into the fourth. Let's see. And then the fourth round, we had Werdum's eye pretty much completely shut. His right eye was completely shut. He couldn't see out of it. And then it's always going to be in favor of the grappler, or the striker, sorry. Because he's not going to be able to see where those shots are going to come from. So Werdum tried for a couple of takedowns. I'm not sure if it was in the third or the fourth that he went for this sweep. He had landed it earlier, but Volkov kind of was hip to it already, and he didn't get caught with it in the fourth round. He avoided the floor. Eventually, he had to get stood up. And then, out of an act of desperation, Werdum knew he had to do something in order to either win the fight or go for broke. Like, he had nothing else. Like, he had made his final decision. He's like, shit, if I don't do this, I think I'm done. Ugh. God damn. Yeah. Ugh, where was I? Oh, kick that mule, god damn it. Fourth round. I think I was saying that submission wasn't working for him, so they had to stand up. Yeah, okay. Fabricio bull rushed Volkov because he kind of knew he had nothing else. Kind of almost in a similar fashion that what he did to Miocic, but with the Miocic situation, it wasn't out of desperation. It was him trying to catch Miocic. In this one, it was more of an act of desperation. Volkov was kind of not anticipating it, but ready for it, and he just caught Werdum with, I think it was an uppercut hook. So he hit him with an uppercut, and then he caught him with a hook again, and then Werdum fell back, and then he came down with a right and finished it off with a left and stiffened Werdum up with the left. Knocked out Werdum in a very impressive fashion. 29-year-old heavyweight with good striking, super tall, 6'7", very rangy. He's coming for that belt. It's going to be interesting to see him against who? He just beat Werdum, and Werdum was talked about being in the championship conversation. And he just got knocked out. Kind of in a similar situation that Frankie Edgar was put in. He was taking a lot of fights, but Frankie Edgar kind of decided to take that fight and not wait out the Max Holloway fight. Got taken out by a young lion in Brian Ortega, and now he's left to try to build back up the ladder and try to get his number one contendership back after Max fights Ortega. And we had Werdum, kind of talked about in the heavyweight conversation, should be the next in line to get the heavyweight title shot. They gave it to DC rightfully. You know, they needed a a super fight in order to make some money. But who else in the heavyweight division would have been, like, Kane's out. Overeem got beat by this guy. So did Werdum, though. But Verdum's been on a winning streak. Ngannou knocked him out. Or Ngannou knocked out Overeem. So Overeem's out of there. Like I said, Kane's out. There aren't a lot of options. And Werdum was kind of the only one on a winning streak. Unless you want to throw Curtis Blades or Black Beast. But they would have had to fight Werdum. And it kind of... Werdum would have just... He was just taking a lot of fights to try to get back up there. A lot of unnecessary fights. And this one... Seemingly unnecessary, but Volkov kind of just stamped his fucking ticket to the big time with a great performance, avoiding the submission game and landing the combos to knock this guy out. It's going to be interesting to see him versus Miocic, because Miocic isn't the most polished striker. He is hittable. He does get hit in his big noggin. He did get put out by Stefan Struve. And it would be interesting to see what a very rangy striker, good cardio, good submission defense, not necessarily takedown defense. He was taken down a lot by Werdum. He was getting nice sweeps on him after that single leg attempt. Werdum has kind of seemed to perfect that, so he landed that a couple times. But Volkov was able to get up from that shit and get the knockout. We'll see. We'll see what happens there, because we're getting DC versus Miocic in July, I think. So that's something to look forward to. I think next week, is already Khabib versus... Oh, shit. Is next week Khabib versus... God damn. Don't tell me that's next week. Oh, fuck. No, it's April 7th. Okay. Damn, how many weeks is this? It's going to be like 2 weeks with no fights. Okay. But that's the next fight card. UFC 223 is going to be in a couple of weeks from now. So we're going to get... I'll see what I do for Full Hill Podcast. I'm going to look at some WrestleMania stuff just because WrestleMania is on its way. I think it's like a month away. But... that UFC 223 card is looking pretty nasty. That Chicago UFC 225 card is looking pretty sick itself, if you ask me, brother. Let's see. I'm going to get tickets to that. I already got my Bellator tickets. I got 6 people going to that shit. It's going to be me, Frank Mysterio, my brother, Jeff from Michigan from Average Joe's. He's coming down all the way from Muskegon, Michigan to come see Fedor versus Mir. We're going to smoke it out. We're going to have a fucking podcast live. We're doing it live. We always do them over the phone. I've had him on here. I'm always on Average Joe's, so he's going to be here. So who was that? That was me, my brother, Frank Mysterio, Jeff, Toucan. So we're going to have 2 of the rewrites, and then we're going to have Jesus, my original co-host. We're all going to go see the fights. We're all going to go see Bellator. It's all going to be great. We got pretty good seats. UFC 225 is coming in June 8th, 9th, one of those dates. But tickets go on sale April 13th. I can't wait for that shit because I'm going to buy my tickets for that. This was a great card. UFC London, Werdum versus Volkov on Fight Pass, so you guys can go check it out if you guys missed it. Hopefully I didn't ruin the fights for you guys without you guys watching them, without you guys wanting spoilers. I mentioned that in the beginning there were going to be spoilers. Thanks a lot, everyone who dropped comments. Leave your comments here or on Twitter, and you can find me at Full Heel Podcast or at Donkeytron. On Twitter, look for me on Facebook, add me on there, add me on YouTube. Drop me a 5-star rating on iTunes, please. It's much appreciated. It really helps out the show. Subscribe. I really love it. Me love you long time. Yeah. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm probably going to be breaking down some WWE stuff. So I'll go through some wrestling shit. So I love all you guys. Thanks a lot for listening to the Full Heel Podcast. I do it because you guys listen and because I love talking about fighting. Spread the word so we can get people into the channel on YouTube or on Twitter, dropping comments, leaving questions that I can see if I can answer. But you guys are the best. And I don't know. I love all you bastards. Take it easy, donkeys. I'm your fucking leader, Donkey Tron, and I love you assholes. Life. Peace.